Esteemed dignitaries and panelists are here, and we shall now begin with the panel discussion. And I would now like to call upon on the dais, Mr. Sudhakar Reddy, Editor, Investigation, The Times of India. He'll be moderating today's discussion. Let me just give you a brief introduction about Mr. Sudhakar Reddy. He's the Editor, Investigation at The Times of India, Hyderabad. In 25 years of his journalism career, among the many recognitions that acknowledged his tireless effort to report uncomfortable truths is the UNICEF Media Award of 2016. He writes extensively on issues related to climate change, environment, pollution, urban waste management, water issues, low carbon footprint initiatives, apart from his core area of investigative reporting. Mr. Sudhakar was a United Nations observer for COP11 conference and was an expert panel member of the then AP Biodiversity Board. I now request Mr. Sudhakar Reddy to please take over this session and invite all our esteemed panelists for this wonderful discussion.
Thank you. Good morning to all of you. Welcome to the panel discussion on circular economy with a focus on water as part of Times of India campaign, Replanet. It's built around triple RR, not the SS Rajamouli's triple RR, but reduce, reuse and recycle, or reuse, recycle and reimagine. Thanks to the Minister, Mr. K.T. Ramarao, for the keynote speech that touched upon the vital, important, significant aspects of the subject. So, circular economy principles have emerged in response to the current unsustainable linear model of take, make, consume and waste. So now it's time for India and Telangana, the youngest state, and Hyderabad, the fast-growing and rapid urbanizing metro, as Minister stressed that it's one of the most fastest urbanizing metro, to move from cradle-to-grave resource utilization to a cradle-to-cradle framework and become a climate-resilient city, as our resident editor Robin David has stressed, through the circular economy. Currently, the focus is on food wastage, solid waste, e-waste and plastic waste. The water sector has not been systematically included in high-level discussions. So our panel today will focus on water resource conservation, resource efficiency, water resource recycling and circularity, the economics and money around it. So as we speak globally, a $1 trillion circular economy, or $218 billion Indian circular economy by 2030. This sounds great, but it can take time to translate into an impactful action on the ground, for which solid policies and implementation mechanisms are needed. Today we have an eminent panel with policymakers, policy implementing administrators, circular economy entrepreneurs and NGOs working on water conservation. So now I invite Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, Principal Secretary to the Government, Telangana Industries and Commerce Department. He needs no introduction. He's a man for all the seasons. But I would like to say a few words about him. Jayesh Ranjan. Because he's a Chevening Fellow. Like I'm also a Chevening Fellow, so I take that honor to be. So then I invite Mr. Dana Kishore, Managing Director of Hyderabad Metropolitan Water Supply and Sewerage Board, the man in charge of water and sewage in the city. He is a 1996 batch IAS officer, and in the past 20 years has led various government departments during his service, and more than 20, I think 30 years. So Now currently he is involved in a lot of IT initiatives in the operation of the board towards its modernization. Since April 2016, he is there at HMWSSB. I invite now Kalpana Ramesh. She is one of the first few circular economy entrepreneur. Shall I say that? First circular economy, one of the first few circular economy entrepreneurs. And she is an environmentalist and founder of the Rainwater Project. She is actually running actually she started with the idea, I think she will speak about it, on the water tankers and cans she has seen, and she working towards eliminating water woes by implementing rainwater harvesting at a residence and later transforming it to block by block in the city. Her commitment is demonstrated through her work. You can go and visit her site, therainwaterproject.com. And she leads the water project to create a collective impact on the environment. And I now invite Madhulika Chowdhury. She is a conservationist. I have seen how hard she fought for restoring the lake of Naknampur Lake. Apart from that, she has been working on a few other lakes in the city for restoration. And she is actually now currently graduating from JNTU in her Masters in Environmental Technology. She is a certified pollution monitor of Ministry of Environment and Forest. And so let's hear from the panel now, because this is going to be very exciting subject, because the newer area of circular economy is what we have been. So can I? Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming. Hello. So let's begin the panel discussion. So I will start on a less serious note, because when I was checking some of the bills, so there's a bill called Prevention of Wastage of Expenditure, Extravagant Weddings. So India, there are 10 bills in 30 years passed by the private RS members. So, but none of these bills are passed in the parliament. That shows how difficult when you touch subjects like marriage, shadi in India, and as well as power, because you are given free power in certain to the farmers, and water. I think Hyderabad also gives 20 kiloliters of water. So when these subjects of a lot of public sensitivity, it needs a lot of commitment for policy framework and regulatory framework and policy making. There are a lot of barriers. So, but at Hyderabad, we have heard from the minister himself telling us that how Hyderabad has started treating water completely. They're going to treat all the water, the sewage that is going to be generated. And there are a lot of initiatives we have reported for a while on waste to energy. And even the metro rail is also an important part of vehicle mobility circular economy. So, and we have a lot of focus on plastic. Now, my first question to Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, because he's there at the top of policy making. What does the circularity means for Telangana and Hyderabad? How important or significant is that for the state and the city of Hyderabad?
So, good afternoon, fellow panelists. Good afternoon to all the participants. Let me first of all congratulate Times of India and Coca-Cola India for putting together this event, because this is something which is very, very topical, very relevant, and I'm happy that you have got a very interesting mix of actual policymakers and people who represent civil society organizations who are actually doing lots of things on the ground. I seem to be an odd man out, but I can tell something else which in a way answers your question as well, but something which is happening at a much more macro level. So many of you would be aware that our minister leads a delegation to the World Economic Forum every year. And the last edition got delayed. It happened actually in May this year. Normally it happens in January every year. The January edition got pushed to May 2022. So every year, in some ways, possibly organically, partly by design, some themes emerge on which everyone speaks about. The corporates, some of the who's who of the corporate world are there, they speak about it, governments speak about it, think tanks, NGOs, all of them speak about it. And those kind of conversations shape global action, global commitment in times to come. So I was very surprised and also pleasantly surprised, I would say, to see that this May event which happened at Davos was completely taken over by ESG. Environment, social and governance. And the other sense which I got was, see, sustainability, triple bottom line, corporates' commitment to nature, etc. We have been hearing this for decades now. But the sense which I had got, because I'm now working in this sector, information technology industries for many years now, the sense which I used to get was that it is only lip service. Nothing serious is happening, barring a few exceptions. I won't say that no one does anything. And Coca-Cola is one exception. But very few others actually mean what they speak about. But I noticed a very distinct shift between the ESG concepts which they were speaking about and what is happening now on ground. In fact, I can tell again something which is again something which is very surprising but also very pleasantly surprising. We receive lots of investment proposals, and companies who come to us also visit a few other states. It's not that all investments are coming to Telangana alone. Many investments go to other states as well. But typically companies evaluate a short list of states on choosing their final location. So typically Telangana figures on most of the short list, whatever the sector is. But what I noticed now, particularly in the last 1 year or so, that when they come for a discussion and site visits and interaction, they typically carry a checklist and they verify whether the state or the city or the overall ecosystem there complies with those items on their checklist. And the ESG related questions have become more and more and more important. In fact, many times companies first ask us, what kind of sustainable practices do you follow? Do you provide, let us say, carbon credits? Do you provide clean energy? Do you mandate some amount of water harvesting, some amount of tree plantation? Similarly, they speak about social issues like inclusiveness, interest in diversity, in persons with disability, taking development beyond cities, how are you integrating rural areas, etc. Governance, of course. So these things have become very, very important. And I'm positive that in days to come, states will be eliminated or excluded from new investments if they don't really put together a very progressive policy which actually also is implemented on the ground, because this is something which people speak about India, that great policies are made but very little action happens on the ground. So things have changed now. The seriousness with which ESG is being viewed and circularity is something very important. So what I'll do is, I don't know if you have more questions to me or not, but anticipating that you don't have, I'll take another couple of minutes to say something else, and then let us both listen to the actual water warriors, the water people. So what I will give you an example from is not a water topic, but is again a very important part of circularity, which is about electronic waste, or e-waste as it is called. So I directly look after that subject, so therefore I can speak about it. Now e-waste also, I mean, that the problems that e-waste is posing, in a few years in a few decades rather, if we don't really address it, it will become like another plastic problem. You know the plastic menace. I mean, everywhere it is plastic. Animals actually eat plastic and die. I mean, nothing can be more tragic than that. Something similar will happen with e-waste as well. So Telangana became one of the first states, actually. We are now in 2022. I think in 2015 or 2016, we were one of the first states to come out with a dedicated policy on e-waste. And what do you do with e-waste? How do you kind of collect e-waste? How do you disaggregate e-waste? How do you reuse? How do you recycle? Some components of e-waste are hazardous. So how do you facilitate that? There's an informal economy which participates in e-waste recycling. How do you make that formal? How do you train that? How do you bring other institutions in the picture? How do you bring civil society organizations? How do you bring startups? How do you bring academic institutions? So I don't want to tell too much of information here because in a way that will be a digression. But today I feel very proud that the kind of work we do here in Telangana on e-waste has become some kind of a role model now, national role model. And I guess the same holds good for other sectors also, like plastics and other things. But one other last comment which I'll make is that one great thing about Telangana and Hyderabad is that while the government does catalyze or facilitate lots of action on the ground, we see a very healthy participation of NGOs, of civil society organizations, academic institutions. So Madhulika ji, for example, works very closely with JNTU. I don't know if JNTU people are here in the audience or not, but yeah, Dr. Sri Devi Garu is here. But Professor Giridhar, Sri Devi, they are all from JNTU who specialize in lakes rejuvenation, etc. Similarly, Kalpana Garu, of course, through her personal connect, gets lots of support from Triple IT. Her husband teaches at Triple IT, so that is a personal connect. But we also support her on behalf of the MAUD department in the rainwater harvesting work which she does, including water board, etc. So something which can really move in Telangana can happen because we have created a very good environment and culture of everyone coming together and participating.
Yeah. Thank you, sir, for that. Because we have a e-waste exchange platform. One of my friends, Shalini, she runs that e-waste. It's one of the first e-waste platform. Like you have Bitcoin exchanges. So that's in Hyderabad. But what is interesting in e-waste is like you can mine gold. So there's urban mining, it's called urban mining. But the question now is to Mr. Dana Kishore, because people want to mine e-waste because there's gold. But why do they want to mine water, sewage water? What is there in it? Because we have examples from Amsterdam and Rotterdam where water is also mined for phosphates. Phosphates is used for making fertilizers. So they're mining medicines also, and the pharma residues. So what is, which policies or department of, like particularly water-related aspects, you are aiming at creating a sustainable circular economy? What are the objectives of the policies currently for the HMWSSB or Telangana government?
Yeah, thank you, Sudhakar Reddy Garu, and my fellow panelists. I'm very happy that I firmly believe in a circular economy, gender should have a parity. To see two women panelists, I think it's really good of the four. Of course, you are a host and a moderator. This is not a small thing you're doing here. I don't know if it's by design or by a chance. If you look into the entire circular economy as a model, where is the participation of women in this economy? If you look into economists, except that recently Mr. Abhijit Banerjee and his wife got a Nobel Award, Mr. Duflo. Very few economists from women you see. But the entire home is managed by them. I'm sure all of you agree, to a large extent, till 1950s, till Ms. Gandhi came to power and Thatcher was power, Ms. Sirima Bandaranaike in power. This entire economy of the world has been managed by men, actually. A parity is that I think women should be part of this, and that's being. If you look into SDGs also, Sustainable Development Goals, gender and equality is one of the most important aspects. So thank you for that, and I also see a lot of our women participants here. You're coming back into question. If you want to mine something, what you look at is that gold gold is used in electroplating and also some of the PCBs and all that. So from e-waste, you try to mine gold. But when you mine water, anybody sort of thinking of mining water? Let me tell you why mining water is necessary. If you mention to Rotterdam and Amsterdam, if you look in the city of Amsterdam, it's entirely built on water dikes, actually. Entire city is, carried by waterways and all that. There have been water-rich countries, all Scandinavian countries for that matter, including Amsterdam. Now, have you asked any of your children, this is a question I go to schools and I ask children, where from water comes to you? They say it's from tap. That is that about 50 years ago, stop wells of Hyderabad, there are any deep wells of Hyderabad. Practically, you were mining water from ground. And we have practically forgotten that we used to mine water, that we get water from Godavari, Krishna. Children do not know about it. Because water has become such an affordable commodity, or affordable essential part of your body. You don't think about it. That is the kind of resilience that has been brought, which is being questioned by climate change now. And you don't think about where you are flushing your human waste, where it is going, where from water is coming. These are the questions we are not asking maybe for last 20 years or so. Anybody who is a part of Hyderabad in 2000, early 2000s or 90s, I came into Hyderabad around 97, immediately after my PG. I went to a friend's home. You can see all kinds of, maybe this kind of glasses, tumblers. Everything is filled with water because water used to get in once in a week kind of a time. All of you remember, I'm sure. At least senior people here. Now nobody bothers about water. But water is really becoming a very, very important topic now. As Honorable Minister, Mr. Keter was telling, we are 46% or 47% nearly urban India, urban Telangana now. Entire water mission by Mission or what not. We're bringing water to the doorsteps of the people. But can this be so for future? That's a very, very important aspect. Because Indian per capita income, let me give some figures. Average per capita requirement for world average is 1,750 cubic meters of water is required. In India, it's around 1,400 cubic meters now. Telangana is a little better because of all the recent last 7 years initiatives, 8 years initiatives of Mission Kakatiya, Mission Bhagirath. Availability of water has increased, but per capita remains same. It's a finite source. That's why where are you wasting water? How are you going to bring water back into circular economy? Because water industry is always seen as a kind of a linear economy. Bring it, use it, and waste it, or throw it. Can you, bring the cycle back to, you said that reduce, reuse, and reimagine. I'd like to add a few more words. Regenerate, recover, resource recover. These are some more R's you need to add. Unless you bring the cycle back, we are utilizing about 2,270 million liters per day in Hyderabad. That's nearly about 227 crores of liter. And once you use water, you don't retain it. You let it out. And 80% of water, this ends up in environment of Hyderabad. That's about nearly 1,900 million liters. 190 crore liters of water is getting into, Musi practically. So what is the nature of this water? This is a black water or a grey water. That's where, STP's Honorable Minister was mentioning, we come May, Honorable Minister always gives us stiff targets, March, April, he says that we are taking May, June. But even if we achieve it by May, June, we'll be the first city in the entire country to have entire of wastewater is getting, treated. That's a practically mining. You need to mine phosphor, you need to mine fertilizers. We are all doing, to a certain extent we are able to mine it. Let me tell you, biogas, we are going to about to get 1 crore rupees per annum kind of income now. From Nagol and Ambarapet STP plants, recently private investments have been called. They have invested. They're going to produce biogas and utilize it for your homes. That's one kind of mining water. Second is, biosolids or biofertilizers. These are again, we do sell nearly about 75 metric tons of solid waste, biosolids they're called, to compost and utilize for fertilizers or selling. We make some money out of that. We also mine water by biothermal power. We have hydropower plants in 2 of our, STPs. This way kind of, what kind of recycled water you can get. The recycled water all over the world, let me give some figures. I need a little bit of time. Perhaps then we have all the questions from them and I'm sure they're going to bombard me on water. if you look into recycling of water, nowhere in the world we have reached kind of a maturity to utilize recycled water as a drinking water. There is Kuwait, which is, very, very hard pressed for water. There is a survey taken. 77.1% of people refuse to take water, even if it is a top water than the consuming water you are consuming from a glass, equal to this. Only Singapore is able to do it. 30% of water, wastewater. They don't call it wastewater. This is the nomenclature we need to change, and world we need to change. It's no more a wastewater, it is a used water. It's no more a sewerage treatment plant. It is a water reclamation plant, they call it there. Because how can you call a water that can be utilized for industries, for gardening, as a wastewater? These are some things we need to change. A lot of biomining techniques available for mines. Similarly, mining of water is also there because it's a very, very, rare, finite kind of a product. And let me tell you, if 1900 million liters of water, 190 crores of liters of water is wasted here, can be reused for industries, it's worth constructing one more Krishna phase 1, phase 2, 3 project equal to 8,000 crores of rupees. This is the kind of biomining we need to look at. For this, what you require is mindset of people need to be changed. How much of water is wasted in streets of Hyderabad? Have you ever seen? We have, this is a policy change. I'm sure I'm going to ask about that. This is a policy change is required for that. We started a program called Water Leadership and Conservation. About, a few also have participated in that. We have taken about 4,500 volunteers from IT and other walks of life. We went to the streets of people's streets, and made to realize them that water wastage is reduced in the streets actually. So what is required is, in a policy perspective, all kinds of policies can come. You yourself said that to reduce or eliminate wastage in marriages, some 10 acts, 15 acts you can bring, but can people accept them? How to make them agree for these kind of challenges, which, as Mr. Jayasan said, our Honorable Minister said that, climate change is at your doorstep, it's knocking, and flood will come into your home if you don't respond. That's why we need to biomine water. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that. And we'll come back to you again. I would like to ask Kalpana. So how significant is the role of the private sector in circular economy? And you have your own example of doing a rainwater project. And so could you please explain that case study and tell us more about how private sector should be asked to come forward and tie up with the government or agencies?
Sure, thank you so much. And I'm really happy to be part of this esteemed panel. And Jayesh sir, thank you so much for recognizing our efforts. But I would like to say that more than Ramesh's support, I have worked my way here. Today, starting a social enterprise from running a design studio for 23 years. And in the last 2 years, the social enterprise, the work we do, has brought the attention of Jal Ministry and also the Ministry of Urban Affairs and Housing. And we are part of two Amrut 2.0 projects. So I'm really, really proud to have you as part of the panel, and also Danakishore Garu and also Madhulika, who's doing great work with lakes. And Times of India, thank you for this wonderful mix of this panel, because it's really, really awesome to have this kind of a connect and interact. So thank you so much. Coming back to the question, how do private sectors help? So coming from a design and architecture background, I realized there are a lot of gaps with our own fraternity and builders and MEPs, and who can actually make a huge impact. Today there are a lot of customers who come to us, because Rainwater Project is also an enterprise which provides solutions, integrated water solutions, and how we connect land use to an aquifer mapping and a study. I mean, scientifically put back water, because rainwater harvesting is often understood as a cookie cutter solution. It is not a cookie cutter solution. It's very, very site specific. So this is something we bring to the table, and we have a team of experts, urban planners and architects today. But the private sector, which is the builder community, if they step in, the kind of impact that can happen is massive. And we've done stepwell restorations, connecting schools in the locality. We believe in local solutions. So Gachibowli, which is known world over for its IT industry, is named after this humble well. And we were able to connect the school simply because CSR faculties, I wrote more than 100 proposals, didn't come forward because it's connected to a masjid, it's connected to a religious institution. Then where do I go for the funds? Then instantly I reached out to the school where my kids studied, and they were more than happy to come forward to restore. So private sectors, they really play a role, and 2,000 kids from that school and 2,000 masjid goers, instantly some few thousand people got connected to this project. And builders, if I take, we've restored a well in Kokapet, and because of the well restoration, prestige project, about 1,000 apartment community project that they were building, they didn't have to buy a single tanker because of the restoration we did. Showcasing the success story to them, we said, now it's your turn to go zero discharge. So we helped them identify 15 injecting bore wells in the site, and they have done 2 lakh liter storage and reuse for rainwater in each of their towers. So it's a fantastic example of a 7-acre project, and across the road there's a Goshala where we've helped them restore 3 wells, and they have 2,000 abandoned cows that they take care of. They were buying tankers. We made them groundwater rich with simply connecting all the rooftop sheds to the rainwater. So the Goshala also contributed to this, and a few builders came forward to support the Goshala, and the Kokapet project itself was supported by an NGO from Bangalore, and Prestige Tranquil was a project by Prestige, who took up this mission to make to go zero discharge. So we covered ground in different typology of buildings. So that's what Rainwater Project does today. It's not only picking abandoned wells, lakes and water bodies. What is visible to you is only so much. There's a lot of invisible story underground. We are trying to unearth those. We came up with this research connecting to the old British maps, company maps, and today we found 6,000 Baulis in the city. So we are asking the private sector to be part of this. Wherever we can find a Bauli, can you restore? Because these are buckets which can hold a huge amount of water today because of climate change. What can happen in a few days is happening in a few hours. So where is this kind of system that can hold? So it plays a huge role, sir.
Yeah. What is the money involved there, like economics and finances? What do you think, which is the best business model for ownership model for circular economy? Because you're doing some projects there. So what is the finances and business model? What do you think funding aspects and probability or possibilities of business there?
So for the projects itself, which the builders put up, they talk about sustainability in theory, but if they can showcase sustainability to the few residents that are going to buy, it's a huge win for them. And each project can win them, several more projects. So the money they put in, to build this huge infrastructure, interiors, and that. As an architect, I know what is the money that goes in there. Only a small part of money going towards sustainability goes a very long way in the project, because today several of these communities come to us for solutions for water, but everything is concreted end to end. Today, to build a solution, we probably can build back 60% or 40% or 50% based on what's available to us. But had the builder thought about it in those days? So I would say very less investment when they start actually doing the project. Creating it as part of the infrastructure is hardly anything, but the wins are huge.
Is there a market for used water? Is there a market?
Absolutely. See, there are a lot of communities who diligently recycle water, but they are able to use only 50 to 60% of the wastewater. 40% is again thrown into the drains. So today you have startups like Tankerwala. What he does is buys your recycled water, and he provides it at a subsidized price to construction companies. What a great startup. What an idea. So these are startups that they should thrive, and multiple of them should come up. And there are startups which can pick up STP STPs in a certain large community, run the STP, pay the bills, and give you whatever recycled water required by the community. The rest of it, they take it to the next level, make it refined, to different levels, and even sell it to people like Reddy Labs. So this is a thriving, startup, and very few of them today, I know, but many should come up, because local solutions are the ones to handhold. Today, many people, when they have STPs, they don't run their STPs because of huge power bills. They don't know the technology of the STP. It fails in 2 years. They simply reconnect back all of the wastewater back to the drains. What's the point?
Yeah.
So there are people that can handhold you today. There are solutions today.
Thank you. I'll come back to you again on that. Madhulika, you have been successfully involved in restoration of lakes. So there's a nice case study of Neknampur Lake, and how did you create a circular economy around that place, and how important is public participation in circular economy projects, initiatives, and approaches?
Yeah, so I have 10 minutes. Thank you. Thank you, Sudhakar. And thanks, ex-VC of JNTUH. Apart from that, all the JNTU family, Times of India, who has came over here. This is, a very good day for me. And and the Neknampur Lake, which is something a mother to me, who has given me a lot of knowledge about the environment. Before going ahead, right, to all the officers, I'd like to say that it was in 1930s when we have industrialization, right? Then in 2000, we have itization. Now it's a time that we need environmentalization. Until unless we think on these particular notes, I don't think we will be going to achieve any kind of sustainable development on circular economy. Apart from that, when we do the restoration, when we talk about the sustainable word, then the maintenance is attached to it, right? So anything when we are taking up a project, we must think about how this particular project or the restoration has to be maintained. And then that part is somewhere we are losing, as Sir also has shown about this particular point, that we are doing a lot of things, we are implementing a lot of technologies, but we are not able to actually maintain them. So, sir, for STPs, right, I have a few points here which I've observed, and how the Neknampur Lake we have tried to inculcate. I hope everybody is very acquainted about the sewage treatment plants, right, and they are very good, and we appreciate. But few of the issues, somewhere we are keep on discussing how to do it, what to do it. The few points, and sir, excuse me, somewhere I'm wrong, and please correct me as well. Right, that as the urban development is happening in the Hyderabad, right, STP somewhere is taking a lot of space in the lakes. Many reasons, right? Many reasons. It's not about to go in detail about that. Then we have an issue with the sludge disposal still. Then we have obviously high setup cost and the maintenance cost of the STPs. Though if they are working good and perfectly, they are the blessings to the country and the cities. But still, in fact, during the floods or during the rains, somehow the STPs again stop working. So these are the few issues or the surveys I'm continuously doing with a lot of STPs, and I find out at the Neknampur Lake that we have tried to do a phytoremediation technology, which is again a proven technology. This is a type of a bioremediation. This is a one type of a bioremediation where we have used floating treatment wetlands, we have used solar floating aerators, we have used phytoremediation plants all around the lake, and in fact we have done a 1 lakh plantation under the Haritaram at the lake, which is all combining, given me. I have submitted a report to the Sudhakar as well, and you can go and check on the environmental pollution, Telangana Pollution Board, the reports of the lake, that the BOD is constantly between 8 to 10. Right, and the COD is between 40 to 60. Obviously, the continuous maintenance, though it is needed. So in that case, we don't have to take any extra space. We don't have to take, it is increasing continuously the biodiversity. The one biggest thing, again, I would like to mention is the sludge disposal. Obviously, whenever kind of remediation technique you need something to enhance it. So we are, from 2016 onwards, we are breeding a good amount of terrapines and turtles at the lake. So we have more than 1,000 turtles at the lake, which is continuously eating and removing the sludge. So it's kind of, we initiated a small thing. Now I'm continuously reporting and monitoring the results, and the results are really very good. So in such situations where the phytoremediation techniques, which is very low cost, low maintenance, and apart from that, I hope everybody is very known to Jugaad technology, right? Doing more with the less. And that is something we need for the circular economy. That is, we need for the sustainable development, right? So I seriously want that, and I request from the JN2 also that we should have an engineering branch for the frugal technologies. I don't know how much, because outside India, the frugal technology itself is one engineering branch nowadays. And then you will come to know what exactly and how much in the less we can do. Sometimes more money gives more wastage. So where we have to put, how much we have to put, and how we can identify the people, it's a beautiful event. So this is a little about what the case study and phytoremediation, how we are doing at the Neknampur Lake. We have a solar floating aerators, as I told, so the lake is completely zero waste energy resource. Apart from that, to generate the revenue for the nearby committee or the community, we compost everything, right? All the leaf litters, we make it sure that none of a single leaf should go into the water. So the weeds, the leaf litters, everything we compost. From the flowers, we create the bioenzyme. And in fact, the Ganeshas, right, we collect the dhotis to create the banners. And with the wine bottles, which people drink in the night, we create the vases. And then we have the coconut, we create the bowls out of it. So it's a lot of things. If you just take up one project, right, it's years you will take to actually come up with this, with the community.
Yeah, that's what you are talking about, supplying water to the municipality, Manikonda municipality.
Yes,
from the
that's
lake.
the result. Thanks.
For revenue plantation.
So then after, when the reports continuously we are getting good about the lake, I requested with the Collector Rangareddy and the Municipal Commissioner to take this water, Neknampur Lake water, to the avenue plantation under the Haritaram throughout the Manikonda municipality. And I'm really thankful to the officers that they are using it. Now the good thing about it, the cost cutting you see, right, when you are using the lake water, you don't have to put compost, you don't have to put red soil, right, and you are taking the free, you are not taking the groundwater. So it's really a cost cutting. Apart from that, that is a 15 tankers per day which the government is taking. Apart from that, the lake is recharging the water, because the lakes are the biggest water harvesting pits. So the lake is recharging the water, and approximately 100 tankers per day, private tankers, which they are taking up. Apart from that, we have sensitized some builders, so they are using the water for the curing, and obviously the kettle washing, many things are used the same water for that particular thing.
Madhulika will come back again on that subject. And Sir Jayesh Garu, what are the, because you are talking about e-waste and plastic waste, and Telangana has a paper on plastic waste. So what are the other priority sectors in circular economy, and what do you think, what are the strategies for pushing circularity? What should be the strategies? What are the current things happening there?
See, from the...
You can take this.
So from the e-waste experience, and also actually some of the suggestions which the three panelists have given based on their own work which they do on the ground, some kind of a model is emerging on how do you comprehensively do end-to-end circular. So some of the messages which have come is, for example, Dana Kishore Garu mentioned about how do you promote awareness so that wastage is prevented. He spoke about reuse. Similarly, both of these two warriors, they spoke about how do you augment the source, like how do you ensure that rainwater is harvested. Similarly, water bodies are rejuvenated so that more water is available. Then they also explained about the methodology, like how do you bring the community by creating some common interest in them. So she's mentioning that compost is now available for the community who live around the Neknampuram lake. For Kalpana Garu, she has created an opportunity for them to save on costs actually. They used to get private water tankers by paying money. That cost goes down. So if you look at the life cycle of their building community, they save on lots of costs, etc. Kishore Garu also mentioned this. So I think the way we have to design a comprehensive circular economy model is to first of all look at right from the source till the end. I mean, don't leave anything. How do you get water till the fact that the last drop of water is reused, etc. The second is involve everyone, involve agencies like theirs, involve academic institutions. They spoke about startup. In fact, one of the first circular economy startup in e-waste actually has origins in Hyderabad. They are called Banyan Nation. They actually won a very prestigious World Economic Forum recognition for their contribution. And then there are quite a few others as well. But as everyone pointed out, there is lots of scope in getting new players. There are lots of ideas which are yet to be explored. And of course, the government plays a very important catalyzing role in putting everything together. So I guess that is the way in which things will move forward.
Thank you, sir. And Dana Kishore Garu, what are the key challenges and concerns? Because what are the current future plans of HMWSSB regarding water circular economy? And what do you think, what are the challenges, concerns for running these, sustaining a circular value chain?
Yeah, thank you. So one of the panelists was mentioning about, industrial revolution and IT and all that. We are in the age of Industry 4.0. When James Watt's chief, steam engine came, it's Industry 1.0, and next level of diesel and diesel engines and all that, that's Industry 2.0. Then, IT came. Right now, we're in a cyberspace and, IoT of things, Internet of Things. Honorable Minister in his keynote address mentioned a very important point, quoting Mr. Nitin Gadkari. Last 5,000 years of urbanization is going to be replaneted, as I mentioned, or reimagine next 50 years. That's on an industry level 4.0. To adopt those kind of technologies, what you have in Amsterdam, what you have in Singapore, how they use water, and what does Israel has been doing for last 50 years. Desert has become practically a heaven, in biblical terms also. So what is the challenge now is that, where do you get these finances? What are innovative financing arrangements? Water, as all of you know, I must tell you, cost recovery of production of water, no water utility in the entire world realizes it. No water utility. Unless it's completely private, like Thames Water has come in London, they're doing to a certain extent, but it's always government subsidized or government supported. All wastewater plants that are coming. For that matter, let me give one metric to you. It costs about 50 rupees for 1,000 liters of water production in city to bring it from Hyderabad. To bring to Hyderabad from Godavari or Krishna and all that. My power bill alone comes to 95 crores. Citizens give me a bill of 40 crores. The water I'm selling, I'm only getting 40 crores from citizens. Rest of about 80 crores come from industries and commercial utilities. That's a cross kind of subsidization. It's not only with the water board of Hyderabad, it's so with all the water utilities of entire country, across the world actually. Even if you take most developed countries, no government can completely put a water tariff on people because people perceive water as a nature's gift. And we are not able to recover water. The first challenge is this. So you are not able to recover water cost. Okay? Then what I have to do, I have to utilize, as you mentioned in the initial question to me, you have to mine water. What are the other resources you can get back? Circular economy is nothing but how long you keep on utilizing same resources you are taking out from earth or nature. What kind of a long period of time you are going to utilize so that ultimate benefit you can get it out of it. And our designs of STPs or the phytoremediation kind of STPs, you have to design itself has to change. You design out wastages, you design out pollution, you design model itself. If you look into STPs that are coming now, right now, MBR, membrane biomembrane reactor is the most expensive one. The kind of water that can be consumed directly by you has to be microfiltered. Filtration techniques are there. beautiful filtration techniques are there. So for this, what is required is we need huge financing. And if you have to incorporate circular economy into this, you have to get private financing because they have the resources. You have to give a good private finance models to them. We are able to successful. Right now, the one project is going on STPs. It has gone innovative financing model. I have brought in 60% of private finance, 40% finance we are giving from the government. That's Mr. KTR has sat with industries, talked to them, and we are able to fly. 4,000 crores is nothing short than $600 million actually, $700 million. And we have also done one project around providing water network. Again, it went for 80% of private finance has come. And then, as I mentioned to you, biogas project we started recently, that's private financing. So how do you bring private financing? This is one issue. Now, how do you bring technologies? When I talked about Industry 4.0 to monitor water, what kind of wastages are coming, what kind of technologies are coming, they are very, very expensive technologies. Western world as a civilization has discovered the value of water. They can utilize it much better. They have better technologies, infrastructure, because they are the pioneers in that one. Those technologies we need to get now. That's where our engineering colleges, JNTUs, they need to bring these kind of courses so that they are available for them. I tell you one small thing. We ask meters to be fixed. Each meter costs any, state-of-the-art kind of meter costs 10,000 rupees for a house also. Even if we are willing to give free water, 1,500 rupees meter, people are not coming forward to fix. That is, they're not valuing water. Water is seen as a free commodity, as a cheap commodity. This perception has to be. That's the second challenge is people's perceptions. Even if we bring reuse water, water technologies, are people willing to meet at the midway? Can we bring in finances? Can we bring cheaper technologies? Can I get a chip? Recently there was a car. Car distribution has become very difficult because chips have become a shortage because of Ukrainian war and all that. No chip is made in our country. When are we going to make chips in our country? So that IoT instrument can become cheaper for me to monitor water, on STPs or water lines, how much water leakage is happening. This needs to be, these are the technological challenges are there. Now, apart from all this, of course, administrative and, convincing public and leadership. And fortunately, we have a good leadership in our state because whatever we take, like I tell you what's happening in water board. Right now, you ask about water board. We have a digital transformation document for entire water board now. Honorable Minister has given this mandate, and we have already started. All my revenue billing system, grievance systems are all AML learned kind of thing. We are doing it now. Next level is there is some component called non-revenue water. That is water wasted where I'm not able to collect bills from you. That ranges in our country from anywhere between 37% to 55%, 60%, 70%. Can you believe this? There are cities in the country which bring 100 liters of water. They distribute it 70 liters for water. They don't get any money. That could be pipe leakages where we need technologies. That could be revenue leakages where I need to have a good revenue intelligence system, which means that IoT, AI/ML, artificial intelligence, machine learning. So these are the technologies that's required. So we need to face all these things, and I'm sure Water Board will be one of the best managed in terms of management and digitization in the country.
Thank you, sir. And before we take a few questions from the audience, I would like to ask Jayesh Garu, are there any, for instance, the community I live in, where the grey water management is being done, the water that's used in bathrooms and kitchen comes back to the toilet flush, so that so are there, because it's built by the developer himself, so is there a policy framework or guidelines so that that you reduce the use or metering the whatever, so if both of you can.
This is again, I think here also our other participants also raised this question. You see, there are STPs are nearly about 650 private STPs are there with the gated communities. About 3 months back, we have done a survey because Honorable Minister again asked, because you see, that's nearly coming up to, all of these 700 odd STPs put together. It's a major STP. So we, Mr. KTR Garu has asked us to do a survey. We already was doing some kind of a survey. We finished it now. Nearly 67% of these private STPs are functioning. That's the one good thing I can tell you. What to make other 33%? One is that your electricity tariff is high. Where is that? Again, it's also whatever tariff is subsidized tariff. Somewhere people have to be made to agree to meet the challenges. Again, it's for your children, my children, and future generations. If you don't spend money now, we are going to endanger future lives. Now, what we are doing now, we are bringing up a mechanism where private STPs have to be monitored. Twice in a year, they will be inspected by an NGO and also National Institute of Urban Management, which is our own institute in the government of Telangana. We are going to inspect it to each STP, and then what is the wastage happening there, how they are maintaining. This is one part of it. Next is you asked about what about water they are producing, wastewater. That's a very, very important question. Unless there are three ways of utilizing. One is that consume it directly, make it into such a good product. People will not drink it however you force them. It's not possible throughout the world. There are very, very important aspects. If you keep listening, I read in one paper, it's also proper research. Groundwater levels of Hyderabad has depleted so much about 4 or 5 years ago. There are some countries in the world, there are some cities who take this treated water, make it into good grade, recirculate it for aquifer. That's one use actually. You may feel that, yes, it's required for future. Whatever water is stored in the earth is for your future actually. That's for future generations. Second is use it for agriculture. Now, whatever water, 770 million liters we treat it, there must almost 5,000 acres of agriculture is cultivated downstream of Hyderabad. This is a research found kind of a thing. And for reuse, what we are doing now, in fact, this week, I think Friday or Saturday, there is a meeting. We have commissioned a study by NCPE, one agency, to, Mr. Jayashanjan sir will tell me, the surrounding Hyderabad, there are, industrial zones are there. TSIC infrastructure zones are there. We have mapped them to give this recycled water by laying pipelines. And also, for construction industry, we are calling all the we have identified them, mapped them where these industries are coming up. We have building permits are given from there. We can take it. So there is a plan to push this water, and maximum usage, medium usage, basic usage. This is a kind of a classification of water industry for recycling. Maximum usage happens across the world in Singapore and in Israel. Medium usage happens Australia, Middle East countries. We were at somewhere on basic usage. There is a government of policy India decision that 20% of water, used water, has to be put into recycle. We are in that bracket now, but we need to get into somewhere around 70 to 80%, which again requires public-private participation, NGOs, civil society organizations, working with people, make them understand what kind of finite source is this, so that, ultimately it has to get into lingering mind of the people so that it becomes a point for them for a future. Thank you.
So you want to add for that?
The only thing which I can share with you is that one very good example in Hyderabad of very creative use of recycled water is our airport. See, the airport itself is like a mini kind of a universe or a mini township. So I'm on the board of the airport, so I'm aware. I'm not unfortunately carrying precise data. But in many of our board meetings, they give us numbers on how much money they are saving. It is not just an impact on the environment. It is also adding to their bottom line. They could have spent so much of money on their operational expenses, which is getting reduced. So that's a very significant way of looking at it. So private sector, industries, other kind of communities, I guess they should also see how their operational expenses come down by using this kind of water. Treated water.
Great, sir. So, very essence of circular economy is like you save a lot of money, invest a lot of operational cost.
Okay, we are not charging in a proper way. We are not encouraging water, for example. Another thing is free of power. When power is free, sir, in agriculture sector, 86% water consumed by agriculture.
Sir, I'm stopping you here. Okay. Sir, could you please answer that?
Yeah, thank you, Karnakar garu. Thank you very much. You see, I'm giving you water for 550 rupees per tanker, 5,000 liters. Last 2 years, diesel prices have gone up. Let me tell you, I also have a lot of grievances because I also respect water. Okay? And I have not increased tanker price for last 2 years. There are about nearly 1,000 people who are living on these water tankers, apart from the owners. They keep coming to me, increase the price. I'm not able to increase the price. Why? There is public furor first. along with respect for water, pay for water a little bit at least, If I have to make that, in fact, I was ready with the policy to make all those water tankers, into steel kind of water tankers. Some of them are there. Again, it's a kind of an investment from the, the group people who are coming into that. I need to improve that. So it's all coming to, boss, it's something like, are you ready to pay environmental costs of everything we're wasting? So it doesn't mean that we're going to remove that one. If you compare with the water tankers, what were there are about, in fact, water tankers themselves are phasing out now. About a couple of years ago, when we came up with this peripheral water supply lines, there used to be 1,300 water tankers with water board. There are about 550 now. Once war or phase 2 project is coming now, that comes, these water tanks will come to 200. Ultimate aims to eliminate them actually, because you can't, first of all, a water tanker is a carbon rich resource. It's wasting petrol. It's no more suitable for us actually. Any kind of carbon neutral economy, there is no place for water tankers. In fact, this is the dialogue with Honorable Minister. We want to eliminate water tankers, and then soon maybe we have to increase water tankers price also. We'll eliminate them. That's a minor issue. Second issue is that respect for water. Yes, very much. We have a God for water. Okay. And unfortunately, we are giving it sometimes free of cost. It's a government's mandate, as a people's mandate. We need to bring in the dialogue actually to respect water.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Please ask circular economy related questions, and I would rather give a chance to a woman here. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Hello. Plastic ban was supposed to have
closer. Yeah.
What about the single-use plastic ban? It is not at all in place.
Plastic ban, she's asking.
That is what is causing most of the pollution, the floods.
How is it being implemented?
There is a plastic ban imposed also. There is some microns, I think 0.35 microns or something like that, 35 microns. I don't remember the exact number. Below that, plastic usage has been banned in city of Hyderabad also. When you're talking about plastic ban, madam, there are 2-3 issues to be remembered. There is a national legislation on plastic ban, but to my knowledge, I think recently one city I read which has been completely doing it, very small city, I don't remember the name, no other city is doing it. Again, when I sit as an officer, he as a policy maker, they're NGOs, you're also part of this group actually. How far you are willing to, follow it actually. I can make a law. I can tell you one more thing. There are about nearly 2,000 people's livelihoods which have been curtailed when you remove plastic industries from Kadadan area. We very seriously enforce it. So again, if you go to any shopper stop or a lifestyle, plastic has been practically eliminated. Any social progression of a social legislation goes in incremental ways. Suddenly I cannot go and cut off unless I have other material in hand. Now let's come to paper. How much of paper we are producing, how much of carbon rich that paper is, how much of wastage is happening, how many paper, this is all a kind of a thing. Is it possible to go a cloth bag to home? But people want, convenient solutions. I don't want to carry a cloth bag every day. All these things are there. It's for civil societies, people, you and me and NGOs. We need to come to an understanding which has happened in urbanization for over 5,000 years. It happened in West. And as an urban country, we are just about 100 years. Maybe next 15, 20 years, we're going to do this. So I'm sure by the time your grandchildren go to school, there will not be any plastic usage in Hyderabad. Let's hope for that.
Is there a question to the women panelists? Because the women panelists? Any question to the women panelists here? Please give it to him. Because
Hello. So I have a question here. So we are talking about circular economy and what government and what MNCs are doing. But as an individual, as a layman, what we can do to prevent the usage of everything, like we all consume milk. So that comes in a single-use plastic packet. So what as a society and a community we can do to reduce that and help the planet?
Kalpana or Madhulika can take that question. As a common man.
You're talking about milk packets.
Milk packets, and as a community, what we can do to reduce waste.
Yeah, so I'll talk about our community, which has 100 homes. First, we built a sustainable home. We went zero discharge. Today, our community, for the last 7 years, we don't buy common tankers because we made serious efforts on rainwater harvesting. When it comes to plastics, I have been personally able to convince about 60%, that is 60 houses today, we segregate. We do composting, and the wet and the dry waste is segregated at a household level. And that's made a huge change. I mean, we earn few lakh rupees as 60 homes in our community today, giving the dry waste. We give it to a recycler, startup called Bintix. So there are numbers, how much of carbon footprint and all that. But to get this 60% change, I had to work for 3-4 years. I mean, it's all people. At the end of the day, each one of us make an impact. It's not, always I feel after working on ground with communities, I can definitely tell you this, there are more people asking for rights than talking about duties. What do you do? What are you contributing is never the scenario. What is the government giving us? What is this? Why is this? What is that? If I go and ask them, do you segregate at home? Do you do rainwater harvesting? Do you use water sensibly? The answer is hardly there. I have seen many people outside Dhankishore Garu's office, presidents of colonies. Now the government has made rainwater pits for you. To clean up those pits, applications to clean up those pits, they spend hours outside Sir's office. How long does it take to contribute like a few thousand as a community and clean up? And 80% of the pits today, remember, in our city do not work simply because you don't maintain it. Yeah. It's a small duty. You have to maintain. So today, as Rainwater Project, we've come up with maintenance-free solutions, making it easy for the public.
Yeah. You want to add, Madhulika, for quickly 1 minute?
Kalpana ma'am. Yeah, just 1 minute I'll take. This is true when we are talking about a sustainable development and circular economy. It will definitely not come if the society is not taking any initiatives, right? Only the policies, only the officers cannot be actually kept blaming and all those things. Yeah, what you can do. This is my request to everybody. If you start using, very, very easy solution I'm giving you at present, just stop using any kind of the chemicals if your sewage is going to the water. Start using natural cleaners, right? This is a very easy, and we can do it, right? If you are not using Harpic, if you're not using Lysol, you have a substitute available. This is one thing which you start doing instantly. Another thing is that we have a Jokasu technology from the Japan, and very easily I would like to tell you that if you have a 20 apartments home, just put up an STP, normal STP. You're right, you don't have to put a lot of money, but make it sure the direct solid waste is not going to the nearby drain. That's a simple technology again, and you can contribute to the lake restoration. That's it. We don't have to put a very big STP at the lake if you are putting the STPs in your home. Yeah. Right? So that is a very big community. Apart from that, the festivals. Right? Yeah. I always tell that the festivals are the biggest way where we contribute for the lake restoration and many things. The sir is taking, and I'll just take one more Sudhakar minute. The sir is talking about a lot of money, right? If we take care of our area, if you start taking care of our city, our municipality, you just feel, right, we don't need money, right? I always say off the lake, from the lake, by the lake. Right? If such kind of thing of the city, and apart from that, if we're talking about the respect for the water, there is a simple word in Hindi, right? 84 crore Devi Devta. I hope you understand this word. 84 crore Devi Devta exist. Right? You go for all these Devi Devta in the temple, and I go to the lake because I got all these live form of the Devta on the lake. So you have to respect it.
Thank you.
So I just want to end with one note saying Bansilal Pet Stepwell Restoration. We moved out 2,000 tons of garbage. That is 1/3 of what the city generates in a day. And all these citizens, I mean, literally 200 homes around used to fling their garbage into the well. Today, all of them respectfully give it to the, municipality. They could have done it earlier as well. So the behavior change is something like this, that we are trying to redesign a plane when you're flying. In flight, you're trying to redesign something now. You want to land safely. Whether you will end up in disaster is something we need to engineer. Each of us is part of this.
Sir, one last sentence. What is the biggest challenge and biggest opportunity in circular economy? In one word or not more than one sentence. What is the biggest challenge and biggest opportunity in circular economy around water?
converting each individual to understand that they have not lived responsibly, they need to live responsibly. This is the biggest line for me. And the opportunity is that we're at a doorstep of a climate change. This is a great opportunity for maybe it's not available for a long time. We need to have a concerted social action and public government action to move forward. This is an opportunity we'll lose for future generations if you don't do.
Sure. Jayesh Garu.
See, fortunately, lots of change is happening. It's not that things are going down. Lots of pressure is coming from the corporate sector, the private sector to implement those changes. Startups are bringing more and more innovative solutions. But in a country like our, scale is also very important. So I guess the next big challenge is how do you reach that scale and sustain that scale.
Thank you. Quick one, not more than one sentence, please.
Yeah, so being the largest extractors of groundwater in the world, rainwater harvesting is not a choice. It has to be done. So this has to be done responsibly, and we better do it.
Just ending with a note, my earth, my responsibility.
Thank you. So thank you very much, the esteemed panelists, because we had a lot of areas touched upon, from policies to investments.
Doubt I have, it is not a question actually. The common water bottles which are being distributed, even here also, how it is recycled. This is my doubt.
So you want to add water bottles, how they are recycled?
Madam, there is a thriving, industry and collection of plastics. There is an entrepreneur called Srikanth Bolla. You must have heard of him. He is a visually challenged person from MIT graduate. He is building a 200 crore industry on plastics. There are nearly about maybe 10,000 people who are in this, rag picking, we call badly. But they are the ones who pick these bottles. There are plastic recycling industries are there, but we need to go a lot distance.
Yeah, that's very important, because I get 11 papers at home, so I read all of them and sell it back to the shop, because I don't feel shame on. Even there are vending machines where you put, I think in a GHMC, you put your bottles there, you get money. So thank you very much, esteemed panelists, and all of you who have come here, NGOs, CEOs, and it's a really great discussion, and we had a lot of points to that embrace the circular water economy. I'm sorry, we can talk in a personal interaction with, because we hope the panelists, they have spent a lot of time. Thank you very much, and hope Hyderabad and Telangana state would show future path for entire rest of the country to be the front runner like many other things in the circular economy around water. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Jayesh Garu, Dana Kishore Garu, Kalpana Garu, Madhulika Garu. Thank you very much, all of you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much to all of you for attending this event on a very, very important issue. Making a difference in people's lives, in communities, and our planet is extremely critical to Coca-Cola as a company. Doing well by doing good is a mission that we strongly believe in and we strongly endorse on ground. While our legacy continues to shape future, our innovations and continued strides in sustainability, these remain central to our operations all across India. The Coca-Cola system in India is contributing in its own small way to building a sustainable community under our initiatives of a world without waste. Water stewardship continues to be a very, very critical priority for the Coca-Cola company. Just to give you an example, our water usage ratio today, we replenish more than 200% of the water that is used in manufacturing the beverages for the company. We've so far created a water replenishment potential of 26 billion liters of water across the country. This has benefited more than 10 lakh beneficiaries. We started this initiative 10 years back and are committed to take this and expand this and scale this in the future. Once again, sincere thanks to the Honorable Minister for gracing the panel and to the esteemed panelists for providing their insights into what more we can do together as a community. Thank you very much to the Times of India for being a very, very credible partner, and we look forward to building this partnership from strength to strength. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rohan Mishra there, Senior Director, Coca-Cola. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, while the session for today ends here, each one of us present here today are taking back a lot of insights, which also gives us a direction to think and act upon as we go back home and resume our work. We'd like to thank all our dignitaries, our partners, Coca-Cola, our knowledge partner, Climate Trends, and their teams, and all our distinguished guests once again to make this discussion forum so informative, insightful, and successful. Thank you so much.